Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 2 of Zack Snyder's Justice League here at Off Script. If you haven't watched our part 1, we talked about the characters and kind of went into depth about them. In this episode, or part 2 rather, we're talking about our favorite moments. We're doing top 10, no particular order. This should be a lot of fun. I am joined by Connor once again.
What's up, everybody? I got my Superman shirt on. I am feeling good, baby.
Yes, he does. We are feeling really good about this. There is a lot of cool moments. So if you haven't watched our first part, we're just going to say it right now. This is a kick-ass movie.
Yeah.
It's really great.
So, Brendan, I'll ask you before we get started into the real stuff. DC Universe, not including Dark Knight, basically everything since Dark Knight Rises. Where does this movie rank for you? And just in general.
Oh, man. It's this and... But, it's Shazam, I always said was my favorite thing that DC's done since Dark Knight Rises. But this is much better than that. Like, it just is. In scale, it's better. So I think this is the coolest thing that DC's done. And shout out to them for letting Zack Snyder do this, because I think it's really sick.
It takes all the best elements, I think, of Wonder Woman, right? Best elements of Man of Steel, even some of the Shazam-like elements with Flash and stuff. Yeah. Combines everything together. It's not a perfect movie, but, man, it's great. Earlier, I said it was basically 4. You listed about 4.5 out of 5. And out of 17. Yeah, no, but out of 5. And we both liked it a lot. Like, I very much would have said it's probably about 80% of Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's like 76 or 77. So,
yeah, very good. There's a lot of really cool moments. So, I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, man.
You ready?
I'm stoked. Yep, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right, so number 1, I think the beginning scene with Steppenwolf where he goes to Themyscira to get the Mother Box is really a tone setter for Steppenwolf as a character and the action of the movie. It is absolutely, like, first of all, we talked about Steppenwolf a little bit in the characters episode, and if you want to learn more about him, check that episode out. But he very much is, in the Snyder Cut, he's just a much more of a powerful being. Like, he just is somebody that I believe the Justice League would have to unite to beat, right? And I think this is a really good, like, kind of litmus test for Steppenwolf as a character. What was your favorite part of the scene? There's a couple things that I really liked about it. I'm curious to see what your favorite thing was.
Yes, I'll list 2 things. One, the Amazons' attack against him is sick. They mount this really cool offensive. A defensive, rather. And I love just kind of the Amazonians are all together because it reminds you like this is a sisterhood, and then it plots later on for Diana kind of being like, ooh, I miss it. So it's very cool. Number 2, and I'll let you because I'll let you tackle some other stuff. I love the scene where he's got all the arrows stuck in him, and he just like blows his chest out, and then it's like all of them shoot away. Like, it's just sick. That's like some hardcore villain stuff, man. I'm with you. Like, there's something about when you bring a Justice League in, when you bring a Avengers movie, there's got to be a reason for these guys to fight together. Whedon didn't do a good job of that in Justice League. It just, to your point, it feels like we just are making a movie with these people. Yeah. So here you go.
As Connor said before this episode, the previous Steppenwolf looked like he just hopped out of a medieval times, which is very true. Just a really bad look. And this is much better. Steppenwolf looks great.
He's huge. That's the other thing.
And
right?
he's like the Hulk on steroids.
Yeah.
He's
with
huge.
A giant axe. Like, yeah,
it's so
sick,
cool.
Man.
Yeah. So that's definitely a highlight. And I love just like he kind of beats the crap out of him. So right away,
he wins handily.
Absolutely.
But he's also like a coward because like when 1,000 of them show up, he's like, yeah, deuces.
See ya. Yeah. He knows what battles to pick. That's for sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's a great one. That's a good way to start off.
A lot of slow mo. My girlfriend loves all the slow mo, and she did.
Absolutely, 100%.
But she joked. She's like, can he do more slow mo after that scene? It's just it was one thing after another, man.
It is a lot of slow mo. Yeah. So speaking of big battles, number 2, when the flashback to Darkseid coming to Earth. This is probably one of the coolest action scenes in, like, I think in a superhero movie history. It's got to be up there, in my opinion, with like the final battle in Endgame. It's so cool. in terms of like how, like, you have to be thinking like how much CGI and like effects are in these shots.
Sure.
It is crazy how much, like, how large
Zeus
scale
is
this
in fighting, man.
Yeah, it's, I mean, dude, it's crazy. Like, this is literally a flashback, and it has, like, as much, like, all of this work put into this, like, all for a flashback. It's like classic Zack Snyder, man.
So I love, with that being said, I love that, like, Darkseid just gets demolished and, like, almost dies.
Yeah.
Like Earth, like I was laughing about him. Like Earth, they're like Earth brings these mightiest warriors in, and then you see, you're like, oh shoot, like this is gonna be a tough battle for him.
Yeah,
and they freaking annihilate him. Like it's not even close.
I mean, you have Zeus and Ares, a Green Lantern, like all of the Amazons and Atlanteans. Like that's tough. That's tough for my boy Uxas.
And in the OG, I think you commented and said Steppenwolf is kind of that character in the OG but like he's not good enough. He's not a scary enough villain for you to be worried about him. This makes sense. Darkseid's, I mean, he's jacked later on, we say, but that version of him, you're like, yeah, this is like the warmonger type.
Absolutely.
So.
The thing that stuck out to me, I think, about this scene is there was a lot of blood. I think throughout the movie, this was unapologetically gory at times.
It's rated R. I mean,
yeah, the part where I think it's Ares like brings his hammer down on Darkseid's shoulder, like he rips into that thing, like and pulls it out, and like blood is everywhere. I'm like, wow, this is gritty. Like, I mean, this is not made for little kids who probably go seeing this. Like, this is
like this
dark.
is it's like the 300, right? Or 300, the movie.
That's what I thought of exactly. Yeah, I immediately thought of 300. I was like, oh yeah, Zack Snyder, he knows how to do blood. So that is one of them. Man, is there anything else? Oh, the Green Lantern. That was a really cool moment.
Cool that he goes and reaches for the ring, and the ring escapes him, and just shoot.
I remember that being in the original, but it wasn't as cool. Like we get to see the Green Lantern really kind of like in his power, like fly and everything like that. So that was really cool.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Huge scale. I thought it was, I mean, it really sets the tone for like Darkseid being that big bad.
Yeah, it sets the tone for like Steppenwolf's his general, right? Is like his number 2 is like, okay, all right. So yeah, I'm with you. I love that scene. The way it was told, I think Diana's telling Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, but she kind of discusses, she's narrating it essentially for him. And that's kind of a nice little setting for it where she's trying to explain to him the gravity of what they're dealing with. Rather than him being like, I feel guilty about Superman. Oh, I don't know. And Diana's like, listen,
shut up, Bruce.
We were in a fight years ago.
There was like a battle.
Yeah. 5,000 years ago, I'm 7.
Now she's like 5,003.
Yeah, exactly, for real. So,
oh, man.
Cool, man. Let's move on to the next one I want to discuss. Steppenwolf in his Chernobyl location. Cool location, by the way. We commented earlier. I want to say one thing that they excluded that hurt me so much was that cute little family just living on the outskirts of Chernobyl.
Dude,
right?
I forgot about that. That's so true. What a really random thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just, they were like, we may have some human consequences, so let's put this family in here. And you're like, Warner, you're dumbass. Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, but the thing is, we still had human consequences with Cyborg's dad and stuff like that.
The characters that we had,
Yeah, like you don't need to add WandaVision's family or Wanda's family in here. Sokovia, like this is so unnecessary.
That's true.
Yeah.
Secondly, though, or third. So what's cool is when he's in Chernobyl, he actually has this. Brendan made fun of it earlier, and you're right. It's kind of like it's a giant rock, and it sounds just dumb, but it actually looks like really sleek and cool. So it seems like it's something he uses to world conquer. Honestly,
it's like an obelisk. Yeah,
obelisk. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, like broken obelisk. So he goes and puts some other boxes in, and actually, it kind of is able to communicate with him. So decide one of Darkseid's henchmen communicates actually with Steppenwolf. And then in one point, Steppenwolf says, I think I found the anti-life equation. So for those of you that don't know, including myself, I just half-assed internet research here. Anti-life equation is basically something that IGN says is created for Darkseid to basically use, and it's his way of being able to bend any world and any person to his will. Thus, meaning where if Superman ever turned against them, the way he could turn against them is through the anti-life equation, right? So
exactly.
That's kind of the reason why it's important is that he can now bend anybody to his will, which is actually kind of scary if you're...
That is really cool. I mean, I was surprised they actually did talk about the anti-life equation. I was like, does Zack Snyder go into the anti-life equation? Like, how are they going to do it? I think he did it well. I think the part where Darkseid shows up is like the most badass part because even Steppenwolf is like like scared, like
in awe. Yeah, he's like on the ground. His armor comes off. Yeah,
I mean, it's very, very cool. Darkseid's voice is sick. It's like Thanos. Like it is really, really cool. Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of how Darkseid looks in this movie.
10 out of 10
awesome.
on the visuals. Yeah. They knocked it out of the park, man. Amazing.
I love his lines. Like, I've turned 100,000 worlds to dust. I will stop at nothing. Like, he's just like a world conqueror, and it's like so Darkseid and just DC. I love it. It's so great.
Old gods and the new gods, baby. He's a new god, right?
He is a new god.
Okay. See,
Brendan, he had to go against the old gods. Yeah. Anyway.
That's the stuff I needed right there. Thank you.
There you go. So, big. I think that's a really cool part. Yeah.
Next, and we're going to talk more Darkseid here in a little bit. So that's obviously not done. Next, I really want to talk about Martian Manhunter. One, random that are general. What's it, General
Harry Lennox? Harry Lennox, dude.
He's the general in Man of Steel, and then in Batman Superman that Lois Lane hangs out with in the bathroom for a minute. And this guy is actually Martian Manhunter. But I want to ask you, it actually does add emotional gravitas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Him being Miss Diane, I was going to say Miss Lane, like Diane Lane, but Miss Kent, Martha Kent, and going and talking to Lois Lane, very cool. Yeah,
that was awesome. I really, it was one of those things where, so Martian Manhunter, if you read comic books, he very much is like, he's that like peaceful person. He's like kind of like anti-battle. He doesn't want to fight anybody. He's like the observer, like the protector, that kind of figure. And it's really cool how he's looking out for Lois and their like connection in this. And the way that he uses, it seems kind of weird. Like, oh, that's kind of messed up that he would impersonate Superman's mom. But like when it happens, it's like really cool because that whole reveal of his character is awesome. But B, it also is really cool because of the past relationship that he's had with Lois Lane, right? That they've been building the past couple of movies. Yeah.
And it's so cool because even to your point where you're like, wow, that's so messed up. It's like, actually, it's not. Because this is what she needs to hear.
100%.
And he means it out.
That's classic Martian Manhunter. He really is like, that is his character 100%. Like, he knows exactly what people want.
Yes, there's a great episode actually of the animated show. I got like a great memory, I tell you what, for just stuff that I never can use in the real world, but like in comic book podcasting I can discuss. So there's an episode, I remember the Justice League animated series that I watched as a kid, and I just remember there's one episode where he can hear people's thoughts, right? That's kind of his deal. He has like incredible hearing. He can hear people's thoughts. And at one point, there's an episode, things become far too much for him. People are honking horns at him. He hears so much hate and so much horror in the world. He goes off to the woods because he can't do it. He can't. He's like got this burden of just everyone's anger on him. And I love the episode ends where he's like, how can I stand up for humanity anymore, right? That's kind of his point. He's like, why am I even fighting for these people? They're terrible. And there's like a girl who's lost, right? She's lost, and then he realizes like, so then the neighbors are trying to help out, and he reads their minds, and their minds are just like, hey, oh my gosh, hope she's okay, hope she's doing all right,
Yeah.
And so he finds out, they find the girl, and she was just trying to find her dog who ran away, and so he finds both. But and I know it's a little kid's show. However, that's kind of the idea of Martian Manhunter is he's this person that's so caring, but he does have this incredible burden of having to hear and understand everybody's thoughts at all times.
Yeah,
can be a little troublesome. So
that is, I mean, I love Martian Manhunter as a character. I'm really excited he was in it. He kind of took on the Green Lantern role. We thought Green Lantern was going to be in it originally. It's still really cool that he's in this, and I think it's like a really cool. Like it wasn't in any of the trailers. We didn't know about it, and it showed up. It was really cool. So that's 100% That's a big one. The next one, Cyborg's vision that he gets as he's about to restart Superman's heart. I don't know, you could call it that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
where they're about to bring Superman back. So the vision that Cyborg has is one of the craziest, like jumping around, like things, like of it, like small glimpses. Like I remember at one point, like it shows Wonder Woman is dead. Like Superman, like evil Superman is like Darkseid's like has used
Omega rays,
the Omega beams. Like Darkseid, like Superman has killed members of the Justice League. Like it is very dark.
Yeah, the League of Justice is like in crumbles. Yep. Superman's got like Lois's corpse, like fried corpse in his arms.
I mean it is really dark.
Yeah, and then like Darkseid's on the throne type. Yes, it's
Yeah.
so. And then I think it's Aquaman that gets stabbed through the heart or something. By
Yeah, so
Darkseid.
Aquaman gets. We'll talk about this when we get to the nightmare scenes. It kind of goes into that, but yeah, I mean, this was a really cool scene. I don't know how much we need to touch on it because it was just very much a vision. But it was really cool to like see. Maybe this is what Zack Snyder was imagining for what this Justice League could be like. Imagine how cool it could have been, man. It really made me sad.
It is sad because it is. Yeah, it's very sad. Okay, I'm frustrated, but yeah, no, it's awesome. It's
sorry.
It's a cool. It's all right. It's a cool sequence. I have nothing more to say other than just it was great. Really impressive. Yeah,
it was one of those things where Zack Snyder threw in and was like, "Here, this is for you guys." I'm gonna take over on this one because this is my favorite moment of the movie. I'm gonna say it is. Superman coming back was so lame in the Joss Whedon version. All he did was show up, fight people, leave, and come back for no reason. Instead, in this version, he fights everybody, but the first place he goes to Kansas, but then he goes back to the Kryptonian ship to get his black suit. Oh, baby. What an awesome moment, and what a reveal with that black suit. I mean, it looks so good, right? I mean, come on. It looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like layup, dude. Like, it's a layup.
It looks so good.
This scene should be a good scene. It should be a bit of an emotional, like, hey, he's back. He's here to do the right thing again, right? Mm-hmm. And what I loved was, like, he breaks the sound barrier, just like he does in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not, like, the Man of Steel diehard, right? I'm not. But he jumps up, goes back out in outer space, soaks up the sun's rays.
Yeah.
But what was so cool is it's interlaid with, like, Jonathan Kent. It's interlaid with Jor-El.
With Jor-El, right? Yeah.
Really cool.
Really, really cool. That was Zack Snyder. I think that was Zack Snyder, like, showing, like, Zack Snyder did Man of Steel, and you can tell that, like, Superman was the one that started everything for Zack Snyder in DC, and it was just, like, I loved it. It was such a good, it tied everything together, I think, for this, like, whole, like, universe that Zack Snyder's been building. It was really, really well done. The shot of Superman with the sun, like eclipsing the sun, was just amazing.
Yeah, and then follow that up with just, I will say, what do we have? Oh, yeah, we have the next scene. We'll talk about that. Let's just go now. So, last scene in battle, right?
Yeah.
I want to just say Superman in that end fight, freaking balls to the walls, my man.
Yeah.
Sick.
So cool. Oh, my gosh. When he shows up is the coolest. Oh, man.
Oh, I mean, he's got like I joke about, he's got the chili breath, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Blizzard breath, that's what I'm calling it.
There you go.
But for real, like, he lights this, freezes this thing up, like, it's this axe, and then you realize, like, okay, they're screwed. Like, they got Superman.
Yeah.
This guy's a beast. So he starts laying into him, just beating crap out of Steppenwolf. I mean, Steppenwolf's just getting one after another, getting annihilated. And it's just this sick scene where you're like, man, this guy's so, like, no wonder they wanted him. Because, like, they were struggling to win before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now they got it. Yeah. So, with that being said, though, Brendan, Barry Allen has a really fun moment for us as fans.
Yeah.
Where we see, I believe in that moment, right? It all joins together. We actually see what it looks like if he wins. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when you're like, okay. And I think it's him going to Earth. It's putting the axe down. Like, so Darkseid kind of wins at that point.
Mm-hmm. And it happens. It basically happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll keep going. You're good. Yeah.
But then Barry, I love Barry's moment about, like, all right, Barry, you said there was a rule that you wouldn't reverse time, but you got to break that rule now. And he actually uses the Speed Force, like, straight up. Like, he literally just goes back in time and reverses everything. I mean, and I always crap on the Flash show because I feel like they don't know what to do with that character, or they just, after season 2, they had no idea what to do. Zack Snyder is very much, like, saved the cool parts for, like, the end. Like, he really just, like, was building up to all this, and he used the Speed Force in a really good way, and it didn't feel like, oh, Flash conveniently has this ability to reverse time. Like, it much felt like, okay, like, we're dealing with some very powerful people. These very powerful people can manipulate things to a higher level than something like Marvel would, or something like that. So I thought the Speed Force, it was a really clever use of Barry's abilities.
Cool way to go about it, too. Like, even when they earlier where the mother box has already hit the water, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, it's too late, but he goes faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it goes back. And it's like, because you realize, okay, none of this stuff has happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's him projecting it. He's going so fast that if he runs a little quicker at this time, right? Yeah. So he just goes back in time. It's so cool how they do it, where they like have the world in front of him, and it just builds back.
So
like a
cool.
Little bridge.
So cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. What an awesome moment.
We also get Cyborg needs him, right? We talked about this in our first podcast or second, whatever, however you're listening to this. But Cyborg and Barry have this really unique relationship where actually in the OG and the Whedon one, they don't. There's no connection. I don't feel like these two really like each other or need each other or need to be there for any particular reason. This one's important. One, Cyborg has amazing powers that are literally come from the mother box, so he understands them better than anybody else in the world. I mean, he says that thing at one point, like, it's like I'm made for this.
Yeah.
Like,
he literally is.
Yeah, yeah. But Barry Allen now needs to, like, give him the charge from just continuously running around. Like, I make fun of the Flash TV show when I watch it because, I mean, the answer to everything was run in a circle. Right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you just run in a circle, you're good to go. And so with that being said, what I want to do, like, what I thought was cool is that these two kind of work together now to bingo.
Definitely.
Yep, like move on, got it. And that kind of triggers like the mother boxes to be separated. But in the meantime, we do get to see the world if they work together.
100%. So that's really cool and really well done. But I think one of the coolest things that people are talking about mostly is the epilogue parts of the movie. What happens after that moment?
Yeah. Oh, so, before we say that, I do want to just touch on real quick. Maybe it's epilogue. Oh, yeah, it is. Cyborg's conversation with his dad, highly underrated, where his dad's...
Yeah,
100%. We need that. We need that kind of capstone.
Really cool with the little portable player.
Yeah, their all relationships are great. Like, they really do a good job with Cyborg, I think.
Really
so
cool.
Anyway, yep. All right, so Brendan, we got some fun scenes, though. I mean, who are we kidding? We got some really cool stuff here. So
you want us to go? Let's go rapid fire. So I love the dark side moment where he says, "We'll do it the old way." Sick, sets up
Armada,
what is probably
not
going to happen, unfortunately, but it's a really cool moment.
A true invasion.
Really cool. I love at the end the scene with Batman when Martian Manhunter shows up again. That was another big setup for potential sequels that aren't going to happen.
Ben Affleck looks really, really, really good in that, by the way.
Yeah.
And you know why?
Because it was filmed like 3 months ago.
And what happened? He stopped drinking.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's like,
this dude's working out and stopped drinking. So I'm like, this ain't the same Ben Affleck, man. He looks great.
He looks so good. But obviously, those are really cool. I love Martian Manhunter there. I love the name reveal where he says, "Some people call me the Martian Manhunter." Sick. Like that's just Zack Snyder being like, "Love you guys. Like, thanks for this." But the really cool stuff.
Go in. Yeah, baby. Go in.
Yeah. So the nightmare scene. Let's talk about this. So first of all. What a weird, like, it's such in a weird place. Like, after all the stuff, like, we know it's over. Like, we kind of beat Steppenwolf, but then we get another flashback of, what would have happened if Darkseid would have won. Yeah. And the big thing is that the Joker's here. So, Jared Leto Joker and Ben Affleck Batman get to reunite on screen for the first time. And, I mean, this is a very different portrayal of this relationship that we've ever seen. Like, it is it is a very strange, like, clearly there's some history here we just don't know about. It's a 20-year history between these two characters. And Batman is like, I'm going to literally kill you if you, like, keep talking. Like, shut up. And the Joker's like, Joker's clearly nuts, but he realizes, like, he's on the outs because Darkseid is here. He's screwed. Like, it is this really interesting moment. I think my favorite part was where Mira's talking about how I'm going to pay like Superman for what he did to Arthur, and then the Joker says, "Oh, he knows just what it's like to lose someone, like a mother, father, an adopted son." I was like, "Oh, that's so cool that they referenced that." So if you don't know, he's basically referencing Robin's death that was addressed in Batman v Superman. That was really cool. What'd you think of Jared Leto just like coming back? Like, I was not sure about this. What'd you think about it?
Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. He's got his Joker's weird already. Suicide Squad's a weird movie. There's no way to get around that movie just being what it is, which is a strange film. But overall, I liked it. I will say it was more enjoyable than not. I think him and Ben Affleck, it's nice to see them actually share a screen because that's, I think, where they're going to flourish the best. There.
I think that's the big one. And I really liked that Zack Snyder had that attention to detail of what'll be really cool to add. Oh, giving Ben Affleck and Jared Leto some time together. That'd be really cool. Build up some of this Batman stuff.
Internet, I read some reviews and they're at the end there, Superman has the anti-life equation in his eyes, just like Darkseid. I'm like, Darkseid's got omega beams. You dip
Darkseid's the most powerful being in the universe. So
yeah, I don't even read comic books and I know that. I mean, my God. But yeah, it's just I thought it was fine. The scene in general. You either love it or hate it. I'm actually on this tier of I think this is just what Zack Snyder had an opportunity to go back and do something a little bit different. So guess what he did?
Yeah, use that extra money, baby.
Yeah, and take the extra money, kind of make a scene, and just show people what
it's real
my
cool,
next movie would have looked like. Yeah.
It's really cool.
So,
I know.
With that being said, do we have a Justice League 2 coming out anytime soon? And actually, you know what? Who cares? Brendan, do you want a Justice League 2?
Be more than anything, but I know it's not going to happen, which sucks. It really sucks. But
do you think it won't happen? Because I actually think there's a chance.
I think there is a small chance. It would have to be, the actors would have to get back on board, and I think they would. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's really just a logistics. I think, honestly, Warner just got to suck it up and say that they messed up the first time.
Yeah.
I think they just got to swallow their pride a little bit.
Which is interesting now, because Zack Snyder is, in my opinion, a more sought-after director, we'll say now, after this movie was released. Yeah. It's very much in the line of James Gunn post-Guardians firing, right? Because they're we're going to dump James Gunn now because of some tweets he said back in 2009. And you're like, that seems dumb. And DC's we'll take him. And then now Marvel's yeah, we should have kept him all along. That kind of feels like Zack Snyder here, where it just, they should have kept him. They never should have let that movie go out there, but they were desperate to make a buck. They were. They can't admit it, but they were desperate to make some money and really went about it the wrong way. But with that being said, I would watch Justice League 2. I would only watch it, though, if he's directing.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else should do it. I think he needs to be doing it. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, there's a lot of awesome moments in this movie. I want to watch it again. Frankly, I mean,
this is I think going to be one of those rewatchables here within 6 months to a year for us, where we just kind of rewatch it and discuss it. But yeah, loved it.
100%.
I think I gave it 8 out of 10. That feels about fair. It was a great film. Yeah. So thank you, DC, for actually giving us a good superhero flick. So
100%.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good with that. Thanks for listening, guys.
Cool.
Appreciate it. We'll
Clubhouse
be on tonight. We'll be talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier on Clubhouse, so check it out.
The 22nd. So if you're listening on 21st at midnight for some reason, 22nd. So anyway, So we'll see you guys tomorrow night, or Monday night rather. Just listen in. What time we're gonna do it?
Probably 5. That works for you.
5 Eastern time.
Yeah. Something like that.
I can't do 5 Eastern time, man. I work
we'll figure it out. Whatever. You know, honestly,
we'll figure it out.
Sure. Who cares?
Check out our Instagram page. Whatever. just follow us there. So anyway, thank you guys for listening.
See you guys. Stay frosty.